I come, sir?
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
You're Mr. Abhishek Pratap Singh.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek, you're vaccinated?
Yes, sir.
Remove your mask then.
Thank you, sir.
Comfortable?
Yes, sir.
You're comfortable with the English?
Yes, sir. Sure.
So, Abhishek, now without giving any identity clues, please introduce yourself.
Sir, I have done my schooling in Varanasi, and post that I did my graduation in mining engineering from IIT BHU Varanasi. And after that, I worked as a GET, Graduate Engineer Training in Hindustan Zinc Limited, Udaipur. And I worked there for around 1.5 years. And after that, I started preparing for civil services. And currently, I recently got selected in Intelligence Bureau as Assistant Central Intelligence Officer.
But none of it is actually adding up. You did your mining engineering.
Yes, sir.
And you were in the core industry job.
Yes, sir. Core industry, yes, sir.
So why you left it? Why did you apply for the IB?
Sir, actually, first I would like to answer about the mining part. I worked there for around 1.5 years, and then initially I was posted as a GET in the underground mines, and after that for 6 months I worked in control room to look after things in the mining activities. But after some time I realized that it is becoming monotonous in nature and not providing me the kind of diversity that I was looking for. So I started looking for other platforms like civil services, so I thought going for it. And initially I gave 2 attempts in UPSC as well as UPPSC too. And when I could not clear prelims, so I thought of looking for another jobs as well. So that's why I looked for syllabus of IB, and it was similar to UPSC, so I thought of going for it.
Which effectively means any job you can land in.
No, not sir, kind of any job, but IB also provides me the opportunity to serve in the national interest because it is concerned with the national security. So I think I can contribute to the national security and growth there as well.
The very idea of being in IB and being in the state PCS is vertically opposite. In the state PCS, you actually have identity, you want to show your face, you do want to do your work with your name with the public, and in the IB you are nobody. It is generally expected that you will be working anonymously,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So you cannot be aspiring for both. Either your personality suits A or your personality suits B.
Yes, sir, of course, but in terms of serving the country, I think the national security is equally important for any nation's growth. And when it comes to the state civil services, when I started preparing for civil services, so my motive was that to work for the public directly so that I can influence the people's life in some way. So, of course, the territory of both services are opposite. It looks like opposite, but the values behind it to serve the in the nation interest is kind of similar. So
okay, sociology is your optional.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And I presume that you have studied sociology well?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, sociologically looking at the idea of nation, you have been discussing nation more than once.
Yes, sir.
Don't you believe that sociologically speaking, nation is an artificial entity?
Yes, sir. This was the, I think, idea of C. Wright Mills, if I'm collecting rightly. So the artificial state. State is actually more kind of political in nature, and when we add to the feelings of community living in the particular territory, it becomes nations. So sociologically, state looks like artificial, but ultimately, after some point of time, when the people, territory, and the population gets added to it, so it becomes it takes the identity of nation, which contributes ultimately to the people's welfare and work according to law and related things.
If we continue this discussion and let's look at the Sri Lanka currently,
yes, sir.
It appears that the society of Sri Lanka,
yes, sir,
is now undergoing some drastic change in the understanding of the concept of nation and state. They're not really accepting their own elected people right now and their own road, and for right reasons probably.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that, and such churning is visible at many other places in the world also. Do you believe that we are on the verge of discovering something else? I mean, the idea of nation and state probably will undergo some changes.
Sir, if we take the case of Sri Lanka, it is more of kind of influence under the Chinese expansionist policy and the Chinese loan provided to Sri Lanka. So it's not just the crisis of nation in terms of society and economic polity as well, but also the kind of foreign policy that Sri Lanka had with the China. The original leadership in China surpassed the Indian assistance and looked towards China. So I think the nations, after some point of time, there is theory of circulation theory, in which it is said that the state sometimes some kind of goes under waves of high and low. So sometimes it looks like a state is withering away, but actually it works behind, because people have gathered the identity of a state. So they will be electing the new president, and they are protesting right now so that the right kind of economic policy can be implemented on the ground. So it will be fluctuating. Sometimes it looks like withered away, but it will come back again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Abhishek,
yes, sir.
You come from Varanasi, or you have done your graduation from Varanasi?
Yes, sir. My hometown is Varanasi as well.
Hometown is also Varanasi.
Yes, sir.
And it is also the constituency of our Prime Minister.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, is there a difference living in the constituency which is represented by the Prime Minister? Are the people made to feel special?
Yes, sir. Because since our Prime Minister has got elected from Varanasi in 2014, whenever he visits Uttar Pradesh or the nearby region like Ghazipur and other, so he used to go to the Kashi Vishwanath Dham. And
do you think administration gives special attention to Varanasi because it is represented by the Prime Minister?
Yes, sir. Under the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, earlier the Ganga was used to be very polluted near Varanasi city. So under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and other programs.
Don't you think this goes against the principle of equality if special attention is given just because it is represented by the Prime Minister? What about the other constituencies?
Sir, the policy and schemes are for every state and every part of the state.
But we know that for a fact, like if the Prime Minister is coming, then obviously the administration will be on its toes.
Yes, sir, because the PM of our country is representing that constituency, so some kind of special attention goes. But I believe that it is not against the principle of equality, because the same kind of policy and schemes are implemented in other districts as well nearby Varanasi.
This we know is not a fact. No,
sorry,
like there are so many constituencies in India,
yes, sir,
which are having very low profile MPs. So administration doesn't even listen to those MPs. Anyways,
yes, sir.
The point is you have also done mining engineering.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what are rare earth minerals?
Sir, rare earth minerals are valuable in terms of economics in economy, but are found rarely. And China has currently largest amount of reserve in the rare earth minerals.
Has the Indian government signed any deal with any country recently to explore this mining of rare earth minerals?
Sir, I think it's South Africa, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. And what about Australia? With Australia also, are we trying to mine some important
With Australia, we have
minerals?
good relationship in terms of mining, because Australia has good quality of coal, and we used to import coal from Australia as well.
Okay. What is the problem with open cast mining?
Sir, the major problem with the open cast mining is environmental degradation, because it involves the removal of overburden, which includes the rock, tree and other biodiversity in that area. So the major is environmental degradation, and the second is the displacement of people living in that area.
Okay. And since you have joined Intelligence Bureau, tell me, what is actionable intelligence? Sometimes it is said that yes, information was there, but it was not actionable intelligence. So when does intelligence become actionable?
Sir, I would like to let you know that I have yet not joined. I just recently got selected.
But this is like common sense.
If I think actionable intelligence is the kind of information upon which can be some action taken, and there is some kind of authenticity in it.
Right. And my final question to you, you also like reading books?
Reading books, yes, sir.
Yes. So, how many Indians have won Booker Prize?
Sir, exactly number of Indians I am not unable to recall right now, but recently Tom of Sand got selected to the.
Okay. Has the book is it the original book written in English only?
No, it's not original. It's written in Hindi originally, I think.
Okay. And who has written this book? Can you tell me the name of the book in Hindi?
Reet Ka Tila.
Reet Samadhi. Thank you.
Reet Samadhi. Thanks, sir.
Abhishek.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek, you being a sociology student.
Yes, sir.
So labor and society is one of the important segment in your syllabus.
Yes, sir.
Recently, Government of India has come up with the the changed amendments. The amendments into the labor codes.
Yes, sir.
It's codification that is
Yes, sir.
concerned. You have a sociological insight. Let me know about your understanding that these labor laws may have dehumanizing impact over the on the laborers,
Yes, sir.
as per the Marxian understanding of the alienation of the laborers.
Yes, sir. Recently, the labor codes has been codified in terms of 4, like the code on wages, minimum wages. Code
I
on
wanted
security.
interpretation part rather than the factual one.
Yes, I am just coming to it. The Karl Marx basically about alienation part, he used the term fetishism of commodity, in which the labor who is involved in the economic process itself become the distant. He feels start feeling distant, and rationally after some point of time he gets alienated in the process. So there has been concern regarding the dehumanizing part that you are talking about in terms of labor code, because now protest has become very difficult, which is also a very basic fundamental right of laborers. So in terms of dehumanizing part, up to some extent the state is snatching away the labor's right, but equally providing the other incentives in terms of remuneration as well. So if we interpret from the Marxian part, so it will actually lead to, it will not let laborers protest, and it will serve the interest of bourgeois capitalist society.
Okay. So like staying on this protest and all that. So recently in Parliament, the current monsoon session, certain words have been taken out of
Yes, sir.
In speeches,
Yes,
which would be made. So how do you see again this is like something snatching your right to have a freedom of speech within the parliamentary confinement?
Sir, currently our Lok Sabha speaker has come.
So the laborers have been snatched away their rights. Here parliamentarians are like they have been devoid of a freedom of speech with certain set of words. How do you see?
Recently, Lok Sabha Speaker clarified that it is not kind of snatching the right to speak in the parliament, but usually under the Lok Sabha rules, some kind of words get away from the list that cannot be spoken.
If a democracy, reaches to the level where it is so much intolerance even to the words,
Okay.
rather than the violent protest or collective actions.
Yes, sir.
How far we would be giving the instances to the word that we are like the leader in a democracy or the largest democracy?
Recently, our Prime Minister also said the same thing, that India is not just the largest, but it's the mother of all democracy. And some action shows that it looks like opposite, but to the procedure, if you look at to the procedure of Lok Sabha, then it used to get published. And I also believe, personally, I also believe that the dissent is the essential part of democracy, and constructive debate and constructive criticism of government should be welcomed.
You come from Uttar Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh in general is being known as notorious when it comes to the policing.
Yes, sir.
So what is the concept of ethical policing?
Sir, ethical policing is about to have in mind when we go about policing or patrolling. So there should be there should be no discrimination when it comes to ethical policing, and also equal space should be provided to every community in society.
Okay.
Okay. Abhishek,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned you like playing chess
Yes, sir.
and also like reading books.
Yes, sir.
Name 3 books on chess.
Sir, the first one is by Capablanca. I'm just slipping it out of mind. Another book is by Viswanathan Anand, which was the autobiography of Viswanathan Anand itself. And the third book is by one of the famous chess teacher in USA. Sir, I'm forgetting the book, but actually know the writers who are players also.
Okay. If we look at the game of chess in recent years,
Yes, sir.
now it appears that the chess community has accepted that the computers are unbeatable.
Yes, sir.
Right? And they try and figure out to be as close to the computer algorithms as possible. And do you believe that it has changed the face of game of chess forever? Now the chess is no more that original a game as it used to be.
Sir, recent world champion Magnus Carlsen recently, when Garry Kasparov was defeated by computer game chess. So in 2013, if I'm correct, so Magnus Carlsen defeated a computer game also. But in terms of artificial intelligence and the kind of ICT is being used in every game, it is also used to complement the gaming skill rather than the fight between the...
For example, tell me in last 5-10 years, any new gambit, any new variation that's been reported? Because the fact is, mathematically all the...
Sir, I'm not sure about last 5-10 years, but I think it was recently the Berlin Gambit, if it is wrong, if it is right. Berlin Gambit.
What is it? Give me 4 moves.
Sir, it's actually sir, knight is played first, and then opposition plays e5, and then e4 or e5. I'm confused.
Anyway, no problem. You've also mentioned that you like yoga and meditation.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that it has become quite a fad nowadays? Young boys like you, young persons like you, getting into meditation and spirituality, it has become quite a fashion rather than the real need of individuals. I mean, if you're doing yoga and meditation in 20s, what will you do in 40s, 60s, 70s?
Sir, I come from Varanasi, and the Varanasi is known for the...
That is another problem. I mean, adding salt to insult.
Sir, I get it. I am getting your point, but actually the culture of Varanasi, I used to go to the ghats, sit quite peacefully. So the habit of meditation comes naturally to me. And once I visited in Bangalore, the Art of Living Ashram by Sri Ravi Shankar. So,
but why? Why were you doing all these stuff?
I was just...
In your age, you should have been doing prettier, nastier, nicer things.
Sir, I do also I also like traveling and used to out with friends. But meditation is the thing I find very calm, and it makes me very peaceful from inside.
And you're okay with this?
Of course, sir. I used to do it daily for 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, Abhishek, nice talking to you. Your interview is over. You can go now.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Take a seat.
Thank you.
Abhishek, your interview is on 26th, right?
Yes, sir.
And it is going to be your first interview at the 𝐈𝐀𝐒.
Yes, sir.
Right. You're happy with your performance today, or you believe that you are a little better than this?
Sir, I believe that sometimes I speak fast, and when questions are not I'm sure about, I get nervous sometimes. So I think that might reflect it.
Okay. See, Abhishek, overall you're a good candidate. Your understanding is good, and preparation part is also good, and it's visible. So that way you are good. Specifically, when you rightly said that there were a few places where it appears that whenever you believe that you do not have a correct, I mean, you do not have the information asked, or you don't have the answer, then sometime it appears slightly that you got a little baffled. But overall, your appearance is good, and you are very calm and composed otherwise. So that way it's good. Sitting posture was good. Voice, only at a few places it appeared that the speed was fast. But overall, otherwise, you're clearly audible. Okay. And there wasn't any major issue as far as the verbal clarity is concerned, right? So overall, it was good. Doesn't matter. You have this tendency of clasping your hand like this.
Yes,
right?
Sometimes. Yes.
So if you do not have this tendency of having vigorous hand movement, then placing your hand like this is okay.
Okay, sir.
Right? It is only when you are worried that if you don't clasp your hand, you will start moving it. Only then we ask candidates to tie their hand, otherwise placing in a relaxed manner on your knees should be okay. Right?
Okay, sir.
Eye contact was good. Flow, I'm as I said, I'm okay with that. I didn't find that you're rushing through. Right? So that part is okay. But there were few verbalization that you should have avoided at a few places. For example, sometimes it appears that, like for example, you said, if I am not wrong, which effectively means that you were guessing, right?
Yes, sir.
I won't advise you to straight away jump to guessing without taking permission.
Okay, so
right?
I ask for permission? Okay.
So please allow me to guess, and only then you can say.
Okay,
right?
Sure, sir.
That will be a better thing. Similarly, at a few places it appears that you were getting almost informal and you're dragging board member into conversation individually. For example, I'm coming to it. I'm just coming to it. This was your phrase.
Yes, sir.
When the
Yes,
board
sir.
member actually interrupted you for something. See, please understand, unfortunately, it is not an equal communication.
Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes, sir.
I am, no matter how much democracy is there, but candidate and the board is not an equal communication.
Of course.
And that's why in this communication, the golden rule is never ever interrupt a board member.
Whenever you ask questions?
And never interrupt him.
Okay.
And allow a board member to interrupt you.
Okay.
Right? Which effectively means that if the board member is speaking, no matter whether you are speaking or not, you have to keep quiet till the board member finishes. And it cannot be the other way around, right?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Right. So that will be advisable. If you are able to do it. It will be good, because it makes the conversation a little bit more formal. Similarly, at one instance you said you are talking about something. The board member is saying something. Okay, you are talking about this thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Again, avoidable phrase.
Okay, sure.
So I'll advise you to be a little bit more formal. These are small things, doesn't matter much, but collectively they say a lot about the personality.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that will be my advice. Overall, otherwise, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you, and it was very clearly visible that you have that vision and ability to analyze which is required. So that way I was really happy, and I'm sure you'll do very, very good, right?
Thank you, sir.
This 𝐸 𝐾𝐻 was a dampener you could have avoided, because
Yes,
if
sir.
you knew it, you should have given it, otherwise you should have kept quiet, right?
Okay, sure, sir.
Right? All the best.
Thank you, sir. One more thing. How was your sociology answer? Because transcript just came out today, because interview started from today. So many of the sociological questions are being asked from sociology optional students. So how was the answer of sociology?
The question that I did ask about these labor laws and sociological theories, that Marxian theories,
Yes, sir.
that was like going well into the direction.
Okay.
Because you have to also, you can say, show your understanding about the humanizing and the dehumanizing impact.
Yes, sir.
But yes, without criticizing, the regime and all that. But still, that was a part of, just interpretative part of that.
Okay.
We were like, confined to that part only. So that was fine.
Thank you, sir. Thanks
All
a
the
lot.
best.
Thank you, sir.